Okay, so MightyMai episode 7. Let's go. This was a little introduction and personal underrated NFT from Moose, Studio Nouveau's friend that he onboarded lately on the blockchain, and that is minting, music sheets on the blockchain, and he's got several of them. They are beautiful, and yeah, so that was a smooth vibe to start with. So
These are actually really cool. Not to just jump right into that, but I actually saw these on Twitter and I immediately was like encapsulated by it. Is that
yeah,
a
it's
word?
hypnotic. It's definitely
No,
hypnotic.
because it's got the piano sheet music there. Even though
Yeah,
I don't read sheet music very well, but it's just watching it play and it's just beautiful composition. It's some good stuff.
yeah,
These
yeah.
are severely underrated NFTs.
Severely. Yeah. Shout out to Moose and Studio Nouveau. They are doing great work. And so, yeah, let's start with this week's topics. And I'm going to put them on screen. Here they are. Very interesting. So, this week we're going to talk about all the celebrities again joining the NFT space. Some of them really interesting. Some, different kind of use case. We reached the music ATH as well, like the biggest sold in, I think, the music space, the crypto music space. And
Yep.
there has been some cool news about new platforms, doing improvements or, that are about to open
Yo,
and stuff.
your stream just ended, by the way.
Sorry?
The visuals we seem to have lost the visuals, or at least on my end, I have.
Yeah, okay,
Is it?
no, it
Am I
seems
the
to
only
be
one?
still streaming here.
I mean, you're probably still live on Twitch. I just think that the stream on your on Discord, it doesn't seem to have any visuals at the moment. Am I wrong?
Okay,
Can anybody else confirm that?
it says it works for me. Yeah, some people can see it in the chat as well. So maybe on
Hmm.
your end. But you can go on Twitch and check it, just get the sound.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah. I was just making sure nothing broke.
If everyone sees the video, please mention it in the chat. Yeah, I think we're doing good.
All right. Well, maybe it's
So,
just me.
so yeah, what's been your feeling about this week, personally?
Um, it's interesting because last week I was like, the adoption hyper speed, but this week I think I've had like a healthy pullback from it in the sense that of course we're still hyperspeed adoption, but it's almost like kind of what we talked about earlier today is like how is that hyperspeed adoption going to affect the masses? I
Mhm.
think that's almost I think that's almost going to be the theme of this in a sense is how is this mass hysteria around NFTs and all of this stuff going to really be seen by, you know, like how is the person that's going to learn about this whole community tomorrow going to react to it, and how are they really gonna feel about it, and what is gonna be their psychological
Mhm.
impact? Because like we talked about, it's gonna be much different than us. Because you and I, and like probably many people that are in here, we found this space as like a safe haven, and we wanted to learn every aspect about it, and we wanted to get in there, and we wanted to just basically get ourselves so well acquainted with the space that we could actually find ourselves being successful in it in some regard. But I think in the mainstream sense, people who are going to be learning it from guys like Gary Vee, I mean, what kind of impact is that going to have on them, and how is their journey, just as like a mass consumer almost, going to really kind of be implemented into the new world? Like I just don't know how that's gonna happen, and a part of me thinks that it's the super mainstream adoption of everything is going to almost, I don't want to say hinder the work that's being done in a place like this, but it's going to definitely be different, like way different. Because I think like the mentality we have here is like it's a way more purist. There's way more theory involved. There's way more tech understanding involved. There's
Sure.
just a lot more depth here, and I don't know if the average person is going to go that deep. So it'll
Mhm.
be interesting to see
I think
how that plays out.
it has to do with education, where it will depend on and how to educate the newcomers and where this education comes from. If at some point a crypto music artist get a superstar and try to educate his big audience, I think he's more willingly to do it in the right way and try to incentivize everyone with the deeper knowledge. But if it's from someone that has interest to exploit the space for himself, sure he will probably, like we've seen with already some drops, kind of exploit the masses to drain traffic, to drain attention, to drain money, and to exploit this space to a personal intent. So
Right.
it depends at which point we are looking at it. And now I think a lot of people will still have a big job to learn about it. And I wanted to shout out Connie Digital as well, because he helped us so much, again, to provide news and make us learn stuff. And he was writing a great article to kind of sums his this year for him, and sums up what NFT can do to artists and musicians. And I really salute this kind of writings, as it can really help to someone learn real quick about it, for the music, for the art. And that's my feel of this week, taking a step back, is I think it's the first time in both industry, whether it's the art industry and the music industry, to collide together like two big planets that have never really met at some point, but now can play in the same playground. And I see
Right.
a lot of adjustment here and there, and I think the music industry has a lot to learn from the traditional art market industry, and the art market has a lot to learn from the music industry as well. So it's very interesting to see those both worlds completely collide, and then have music artists that reach visual artists, and back and forth, to the point where they realize they are different. Like, they don't come from the same roots, from the same history, from the same, but at some point they were meant in history to meet, like here, being on the same level playing field, like, and try to learn from each other what aspects of each world can benefit one to each other. So yeah,
Right.
that was my feeling of the week, like art meets music.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I know it's like further on the list, and I actually can't see your screen at all. But
Mhm.
I know it's further down on the topic list. But speaking of traditional meeting, or I don't even want to say traditional meeting, but maybe traditional, maybe stealing a little bit of sauce from the blockchain Web3 world,
Mhm.
which is SoundCloud just
Yeah.
just recently decided today, or like they just announced that they're gonna start doing. Um, I mean, what's the best way to put this? A fan. What's the actual phrase? I'm like
A
blanking
system
on
to
the way
to
they're putting it.
support the artist directly from fans to the SoundCloud account of the artist.
Right, which is essentially the way in which Audius emanates and these other
And the whole
web
blockchain, yeah. Pretty
yeah,
much.
the blockchain streaming platforms are trying to, basically pay artists more fairly. And it's really interesting to see how SoundCloud has just decided to step into the game. So what do you think about this? Do you think that this is a good thing or a bad thing? Do you think that this is gonna be a bit of is this a competitor now to Audius and any? I mean, I'm sure of course all of these streaming platforms are competitors in some fashion, but indirect. Do you see direct competition with this approach by SoundCloud, and how do you think it's going to affect things?
I mean, indirectly, yes, it's definitely a kind of competition. But I just heard the news today, so I don't know all ins and outs about it. It just made me think like SoundCloud basically trained a lot of artists to move out of their platforms for years, and so suddenly they wake up, catching the blockchain music vibe and say, "Hey, we're gonna do that." But at the same time, they announce it at the moment where they are not backed with blockchain. So it's like, and I read the article with you, and it was like they stole the language from the whole crypto music scene, like we said, like level playing field, fair, transparent industry, leverage artists, empower artists. It's all the language from the music and blockchain world. But since I'm here, and I wish some people in the crypto music community can get me wrong, but since I'm here, I've never seen one crypto music artist or anyone in close or far to that space mentioning SoundCloud at any point. So it sounds, fishy to me to see them suddenly come with the blockchain language and say, "Hey, we're going to do this," knowing that when they announce it, it's probably not going to be backed by blockchain. I wish it is, and I will dig that further because it's interesting kind of news today. But yeah, it sounds fishy.
Do you think that any of these streaming platforms are
Because
ever going to adopt?
Sorry to cut you. Yeah, it was the same for Spotify. Like they use the same language as mentioned, like a level playing field, leveraging, empowering artists, fair and transparency. But we've already covered this, that they may use blockchain technology to their interest and not to put it in an open source way. So I don't know. It will be very interesting to see this unveil in the future. So seeing if their move is about to disrupt really, or keep them, in a better position to face again the tsunami of open source music industry.
Right. Well, yeah. What I was saying is, do you see the traditional ever submitting to what is obviously the technological advancements that are happening right now, which is blockchain, the ability to decentralize all of these things? I mean, that would be so dumb for these traditional platforms to just all of a sudden give up the leverage that they have clearly have. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And so that's why when I see someone like SoundCloud, who they started off as like, yeah, it's the platform for independent artists, and it was great for a while, and then obviously the traditional or the industry side of things bled into their business model, and a lot of people who are SoundCloud heads would say that it got ruined over the past few years. And this does seem like a Hail Mary for them. I'm not saying that it's not going to work either. It seems like this is definitely a move. I saw somebody else mention it actually, and it seems like it's a move to essentially accommodate the upper class of SoundCloud, or the upper middle class to upper
because it's
class of
going to
SoundCloud.
be only for verified accounts. It's not for all people having an account on SoundCloud.
Right. And so what it seems like they're doing is they're taking that model from these other platforms, and they're realizing, well, if we don't do this sooner than later, these bigger artists that are on our platform are going to just switch over to those ones. So it seems like they're trying to get ahead of the curve by doing this early, but I'm super skeptical. I don't know enough about it to know how this is actually going to get implemented, but from what I've seen, the numbers are, if the math that I saw is correct, it's like it would be a significant amount pay increase to a lot of artists. But it's just a matter of like how and how accurate are the representations, or the models that they're examples that they're showing. And yeah, I'm just curious to see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm definitely on the side of saying that this is a bit fishy. Definitely a bit
Yeah,
fishy.
but I love SoundCloud from day one. So it's just that at some point, if I was waiting for SoundCloud to disrupt the whole thing, I may have waited, and missed something at some point. Just have to realize that I may, if I was just waiting for SoundCloud, I would have missed the whole vibe. And maybe I would have even believed that they are the first company to do this, which they claim. And
Yep.
that has been the week of all the first. We've seen all the first people in the music and blockchain this week. And so shout out to the crypto music community that's been there for more than a year now. Because everyone is claiming to be the first this week, like especially when it comes to music. And I have a good example, but which is a big shout out at the same time. It comes from Illmind, which is a producer which I love as well, that has done his first NFT, and which is Melodic Pack. So we are going to talk later a little bit more about sample banks and stuff. But he sold it for $6,000 on Mintable, and so he stated that this is the first ever backed melody sample pack done by a Grammy Award winning artist. And so this is crazy because we've been talking about sample banks and drum kits and stuff for weeks now. Some of them have already been minted, and then we again have a first sample bank, but it definitely shows the dimension of this sample bank market able to occur, and that has a lot of room for improvement.
So how is he doing his is he packs? Is he doing them in terms of is he doing them like through NFTs?
Yeah, so you buy the NFT, and basically you can use all the melodies like copyright free in your work. But my point personally for the future is that for now you have to don't care about the royalties, because it would be pretty hell to track, because you would have to do that manually. But at some point, I'm sure we will, and I'm giving the idea, make cross production royalties trackable, so that when you buy this melody pack, at some point, if you use one of the melodies that is in the pack, I think the melody should be credited in the NFT that is created after, from that melody, and then rewards a part of this sample that's been used to the original creator of this pack. So it would be cross production royalty thing. So that's where, for me, it starts to be interesting. I mean, I did the drum kit a few months ago to just highlight the fact that the NFTs would be, definitely the future of this kind of market, material market for music. But very
What are
quick.
the yeah? Let's. I was just about to say, what are some of the benefits of doing sample packs, whether drums, melodies, um, what are the main benefits of doing it in NFT rather than just selling them, regularly? I know that obviously the incorporation of smart contracting
I mean,
and
yeah, to me, the
that's
benefit
probably
would be when these NFTs can work together, tracking the chain of production that makes a sample pack live. I mean, to me today, it's just interesting to point to the fact that it is the direction to go, but on a business level, it doesn't change much as selling on a beats website, a beats selling website, because you basically can track it as good as following in real life contracts, which is pretty messy. So the real interest
right.
to do so on the blockchain is the capability in the future to track what your material has been used, in which production, kind of, the website Who Sample, where you can see all the samples and the life of a sample, and this in the blockchain. So you combine those, and then you have on one hand the NFTs that can be used in productions, and then the whole trackable records of where that sample has been used, and then
Dude, that's
retributed
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, that's a fire idea. In fact, I think that might just have created a new segment on the show, which is somebody invent that and somebody develop that app or something. Because real
Yeah.
real shit, if somebody could find a way to automate that whole process or create the database
Mhm.
for all of that, and then basically every time something like that gets purchased, it goes into that database automatically. I mean, this
Yeah.
is like one of the biggest things about this whole new situation we're in right now, is that all of these ideas are limited by the fact that the technology is here, but because the technology is so new, there aren't roads for these cars to drive on almost. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah, and
kind of
so we have
just
to manage it pretty much manually. And so we can
right.
just drive those concepts, play around and stuff, um, but at the same time, if we don't throw these ideas out, I mean, it has, to inspire the developers, inspire the platforms, inspire the people that want to give a hand to disrupt this thing, and they have as well, they might need the material to process or to work on, and see where artists, where they want to go, where they are going, and what's the necessity in the end. So what's the real use case that can be filled and that is missing today, and that can solve and create a pretty interesting and fascinating layer that all comes to having a standard of royalties, metadata, public decentralized ledger, where every royalties metadata is on chain and decentralized. And so, on top of that, you can create decentralized apps that interacts all into each other, and then connect all of this into a great dashboard for artists to manage all their assets, whether it's songs, whether it's, uh, materials that for others to use. And yeah, I definitely see it happen, but it we have to play around with those ideas so they can materialize at some point.
Right. And right now we're just, speculating and hoping that someone does it. But
Yeah.
sorry, so I'm not I'm like I said, I can't see your stream right now, and
Mhm.
I don't know why. It doesn't say you're live. Like I can't see your screen at all. But it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
I might
closed.
hang up.
But can you go
I
on
might hang
Twitch?
up. What'd you say?
Can you go on Twitch?
Oh, I guess I could just go on Twitch. I just have to mute it.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say maybe we could pop to the next topic here.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about great energy that I felt this week from the crypto music community that, wants to connect together on a broader level. And so all kinds of initiatives, it's like, the crypto music community is a set of lot of nodes that are not still, well connected together, and can, create greatness if they would find a place to really connect and interact. To That's why I was thinking this way about, giving organizing a Discord for incubation, crypto music incubation. We've talked about that, but there's already chats on Telegram specific for crypto music. There's been one opening this week on Twitter where more than 50 crypto artist music got into one chat on Twitter. We've seen on Discord multiple Discords that, shout out to Studio Nouveau, found a way to create a cross channel across multiple Discords from the crypto music community. So we are like all trying to connect those nodes, rooms together, and then yeah, trying to benefit as well from connecting everyone together and see what kind of inspiration is going here and there, and work on project as well publicly. And yeah, so big shout out to CryptoMusic community. The energy has been great this week again, and yeah, that was just something I wanted to say and to notify. We are organizing stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I love to see the trolling of the community too, with the people that are kind of like just getting in, which I realize like that's basically that's like me almost, but it's just funny to see the joking that goes around. But
Yeah,
by
sure.
the way, I'm looking at the screen right now, not to like jump back on this, but so this was a 1 of 1. This melody pack was a 1 of 1.
Yeah.
So now that is something to me, not to like hop on this again, but this is something that's super interesting. So basically you're saying that he put up, it's almost like he said, "Hey, who wants to collab with me? You just got to buy my NFT and you're going to essentially collaborate."
Yeah.
And you'll be the only one with this pack. That's like me putting up like guitar loops or guitar compositions or something, or anything, and just saying, "Hey, if you buy this, you can use this for your beat, or you can use this for your next song, and you'll get the royalties, and you can have the royalties or the rights to this music." And this sold for $6,000. I was gonna say, who the hell is buying a sample pack for $6,000? But now that I see that it's a 1 of 1, and it's,
Yeah.
this person is essentially now a collaborator with Illmind, which is basically the vibe that I'm getting from this idea. I mean, this is cool. This is real cool. It's a next level move.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so this week we've seen this Illmind, move that was really fascinating, because it's always great to feel that great producers discover this and start to understand how it works, and especially those that think forward and just don't only see it from an individual perspective, but a sample bank is basically, like you said, an invitation to collaborate, and I'm sure Illmind would be happy to have something that can track from this sale what will be the productions made from there, and what they will become, and take a part of the royalties of theirs. And
It almost feels like there's just gonna be need to be a massive interlaying of all of these fucking
yeah,
these 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 blockchains, or like this internet world, like everything has to be integrated, because if those sample packs went into a program that then read the fact that there was
yeah,
a number, an address to it, and then that track is then embedded with that same address, and that would make it all automated, but that would require pretty much every single technology that we have at our fingertips to
to
be
be
integrated.
interconnected. Yeah, because that's the idea of online music software, where when you compose your music, you basically drop the sample base from your NFTs, and when you bounce the track in the end, it has all the metadata from the NFTs or the material you used, and then the royalty is set itself in the MP3, the future of the MP3. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Seriously though. No, yeah. I mean, that's something that I think is gonna take a little more time, you know? I mean,
yeah,
we're gonna have plenty of people dabbling in this space all day and coming up with interesting ways to do it, but this idea right here of selling that 1 of 1 sample pack, and making it the way that this whole process went with the Illmind pack, that's gonna seem very archaic, I think, in like 2, 3 years. Not to say
yeah,
it in a
yeah.
bad way, not to look back at it and
That's
be like, "Oh, that was terrible," but
That's
it's
why
gonna
today
be
I done one for the educating purpose, but I wouldn't give too much energy to do so now, because if so, the only interest today is to cut the middleman. So it's to cut the percentage from bit stores or sample banks stores that take a
Yep.
percentage out of your sales. So that's the
Right.
interest today. But tomorrow, like you said, in a evolved metaverse, this would look pretty archaic, and I wouldn't give myself too much time, to develop sample banks and stuff. But I would definitely do once we get there, because I would know, everything is secured, and then I can track the life
Yep.
of my samples.
Super true. Right. Well, yeah, so we got a bunch of other names on this list. So that was Illmind. So it
Yeah,
says Shawn Mendes here. I know the disclosure thing, which is interesting. That's actually happening, like, I think right now. But the
yeah.
Shawn Mendes, what's going on with him?
Yeah, he just made a drop. Like Shawn Mendes is a big name. He's a multi-million streamer, and he collaborated with this collection called Genies, and it's pretty crazy. It dropped 5 days ago, and it was already traded like 500,000 times. So, but there is no music attached.
For real?
What?
500,000 times?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's fucking insane.
And it dropped 5 days ago. But there's no music attached. When you look at it, it's a set of 3 collectibles that were not unique. There were several of them. And it's just, some kind of figurines of him with a little soundtrack, which is not music. So, because Shawn Mendes, I think, is in a big record deal, kind of like, Justin Bieber kind of deal, or, complex or into the major. And if it comes to this space, it might be a little bit tricky in this kind of situation to play with music yet. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was even going to say, somebody as mainstream as Shawn Mendes, I wouldn't imagine that he would be able to do anything like this without giving a cut to his label. I mean, I'm sure his label owns every aspect of his career. So,
but they're kind of hacking the thing where they are entering the scene, even though exploiting their notoriety, their celebrity, with no music yet. So they can do that, I guess.
So what was the sell of this? Like how much did Shawn's team make?
I don't have the numbers, but the average sale is around 0.5 Ethereum.
Oh, okay. So they sold a bunch of them, a bunch of little ones.
Yeah, and there's pretty around 1,000 items.
Okay.
But
so
1,000 multiplies 0.5 is like a lot of ETH. So yeah, that was one this week. But we had also the Zora drop, the first Zora drop that will occur in 2 weeks time frame. The first drop already happened and is sold out. So I didn't have the luck, to to see all the pieces, but it was successful. So shout out to Zora and all the artists implicated in this first sale. And I wish, and I'm sure the second series will sold out pretty instantly, because Zora is on a good direction right now. So, but we cannot listen to it. Yeah, you mentioned the disclosure, which is pretty interesting. I wanted to play the short clip of him because it's, kind of innocent, and I love the vibe.
But today's a special one. Disclosure are officially unsigned. We finished our contract. 3 albums we signed.
And that's what's interesting. The day Disclosure got unsigned. And so they're free, and they're like, okay, what's up, NFT? Let's go. Bam. Wow. We just got released from our, the way he says it is kind of, okay, we just got out of hell. Now we're going to do cool things.
Dude, that's such a good point.
Signed
that's
for
such a good point. Go ahead.
Yeah. Special one. Disclosure are officially unsigned. We finished our contract. 3 albums we signed for back in, it must have been 2012. I'm sure, as you've all seen in the news, pretty crazy timing for us, because there's a lot of talk about these NFTs. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to make a tune from scratch. See if I can get a full structure. I'll give it a little master as well, using my SSL Fusion box here as well. Bounce it out. I'm going to mint it on Zora as an NFT, and this is going to be the world's first Disclosure NFT. I don't know if this is a first, doing it on a stream. Jacob from Zora seemed to think it might be.
Again, the first of the first of the first of the first.
Right.
We talked about minting with the music, we did on New Year's Eve live on TokenSmart, but we didn't because the gas went crazy and stuff, and we should probably do it like this week. With a free solution like Opensea, or I don't know, but whatever. I'm just trolling, start to troll everyone, coming up with the first, being the openly shooting, But that's fun. It's just so cool to see the vibe of everyone getting, more attention into, especially the industry actors.
So I'm going to claim the hell out of it, but there's a good chance it's not. All I know is I'm going to put it on Zora and I'm going to start the bidding at 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is buy a load of crypto art. I want to try and invest back into the scene and support some of the artists that I've been hanging out with on Clubhouse and chatting with on Instagram. And yeah, let's see. I got no idea what it'll go for. So yeah, it's a wild time though. Wild time. But today's
wild time, and I'm a big fan of Disclosure. I see them live. I think it was around 2010 in Paris. That was a great concert here. Back in the days when I went to shows.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's sick.
It's great to see. Does it inspire you something?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I find most interesting about this is, how you even mentioned that, like, he mentions it. He's like, I literally just got off my fucking deal, and
and if you look at his body language, he's like, that's liberation.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly kind of where my head's at with it. But yeah, I mean, it's curious. It's curious to see what's gonna happen. And once again, like, there are probably so many artists right now who are thinking to themselves, whenever I get out of, I mean, I wonder if record deals are going to just be different from here on out, because every artist who's learning about NFTs right now has to be thinking to themselves,
yeah,
fuck. You know what I mean? They
I'm
have
stuck.
to be, because if I was signed right now, granted, we're small time. We're mega small time, but my point is like, imagine if you were getting some traction right now and you're popping, and then all of a sudden this NFT thing comes out and you just signed your first deal for like 5 years, and now you can't do shit with that music that's popping off. Dude, that's a lot of money left on the table in terms of, but I mean, that's the risk every independent artist takes by signing. But it's the psychology is going to shift more and more to people realizing this NFT thing can change my income streams, and I can make potentially more money by minting NFTs of creative, interesting things of my music and my process and everything about it.
That a record deal would bring me.
Right, exactly. Instead of signing an advance, which, I mean, I'm sure everybody who understands what a standard deal is. I mean, dude, even if you get handed $50,000, that $50,000 is coming off the back end of whatever your music is going to make anyways. It's very rare that you're going to get money that isn't going to have to be paid back. I mean, I would argue 99% of the time that money needs paid back. So, these record labels are fucking feasting on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not offering you a deal, and you're like, if you think you're getting a good deal, you're fucking fooled. That's just what it is. And that's why this NFT thing is amazing to see how it's going to change the psychology and change the way that this all works. And dude, if I'm a record label, I'm innovating today. I'm being like, all right, every deal I do, we're going to mint 10 NFTs with you, blah, blah, blah. Like, they need to evolve too. Cause I'm not trying to say, completely like, I mean, I would love to say completely fuck record labels, because I think they're all just vultures. But I'm saying, and I mean, it's not 100%, but whatever. But I would just say, like, why not evolve with it? Why not just accept the fact that the technology is here and there's other ways for, I mean, shit, even more ways for the label to make more money. Just be fucking fair and be like, hey, like, look, let's take these NFTs and let's do some stuff. There's an album right now that's owned by a label that I worked on, and every day I think to myself, man, like, what if we made NFTs out of this? Like, what if we went back and said, and it's not super old. It came out, 5, well, shit, I guess it is more now, 6, 7, 8 months ago at this point. But my point is that album did pretty well for him. And it's like, there was no talk of NFTs then, but, now it's even like, what if we went back and did that? But, how much pull do we have with that music? It's owned by the label. So what are we going to do with it? And
and they might, even if they might realize even if the major might realize the potential from the NFT space and stuff, it's this situation like adapt or die. Although I'm sure a lot of them are aware, but I'm sure they see the artist, winning a lot of money, earning a lot of money through the NFTs and stuff, but they might not find the way that comes from the street of how artists actually want to use it and will disrupt the game with it.
Right. It's like they want to hold on to their leverage as much as they can. You know what I mean? Like they're just gonna ignore it and ignore it and ignore it until they have simply no fucking choice. That's my theory. But like, if they're really smart, if there's a smart label out there, they basically take this opportunity to get as educated as they can, and they find a way to actually get, if they actually find a way to like give money
That's
back.
the best thing they have to do, like adapt and try to disrupt as well, be part of the community. I mean, the community isn't necessarily people's isolated people. It's every company or everyone that wants to build towards something that is fair and transparent. So I have no problem with Spotify or SoundCloud or any major label, wanting to join the movement. But at the same time, I can see some of them trying to exploit the blockchain to keep their position of being middlemen. Like they may not have any interest of helping the open source movement.
Dude, of course. I mean, that's like the thing about this is like, when Spotify and Apple Music and these people have to submit to the technology, they're not going to submit the way that we want. You know what I mean? It's like because and this gets into this gets into that conversation that we were having earlier. It's like the mainstream crowd is never going to understand this world the way that we do. They really won't. They never will. They're going to understand it on such a surface level, and if it's marketed correctly by these higher ups, whatever you want to call them, it will not get across the way that it needs to for them to have this same perspective that we have, where we actually understand how liberating and how free these things will become. But let's say Spotify tomorrow is like, every time you upload a song, we create that as an NFT and we put it out on our market. Genius move by Spotify. But what's that going to do? Now they're the market again. Now they have the leverage. All one of these platforms has to do is make everything super easy for the consumer, because the second that they do that, all of a sudden it's back in their hands. They just don't right now. I think they're trying their best to just keep their eyes closed and they don't want to see what's happening. But I genuinely think that like if they were smart, and I do think that it will happen. I'm not trying to be pessimistic with these companies coming in and like ruining everything, but if they wanted to tomorrow, they could easily come up with an idea that gives up a little bit of their leverage, but wouldn't give up the leverage that it would be if they actually lost. So what they're going to do is just create their own NFT market that only happens on, say, Spotify. And every time you upload a song, now they mint it for free. And then whatever happens, they take 50% of the profits of that. And they create their own market of NFTs. And then you can collect your own NFTs on the Spotify market. I mean, dude, I just gave Spotify the best idea of all time.
Sure, but that's what I was, answering in the Telegram chat. Shout out to Skrilla. But yeah, as I think it's up to the community, the Metaverse, to make to make the community stronger. That what they would each represent individually, if their intent is to go solo. Or we would have to incentivize them to support artists, as it's one of the most important dimension of what this whole movement is about.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what I mean. The movement, what the movement is at the core about is not what the mainstream will ever see it as. I think that's the problem. It's not a problem. It's just that I think that that's like the irony of this. Like it's the same thing that I kind of have with Bitcoin. Or any of these decentralized currencies. It's just, it seems to me that if it ever is going to get mainstream the way that people, I don't want to say people want, but like I think that it inevitably will, there has to be some level of interference from, a centralized power. I mean, there's just no way around it. But BB Studios, they probably aren't listening. That's a fact.
Absolutely. So yeah,
they're definitely not listening.
We've been, and I know, lots of them are listening, but kind of stuck to move, because it's like moving a turtle with a big, carapace. It's slow. You may have brilliant people into Spotify, the major labels and the major platforms. There are brilliant people there, but they may be, stuck to that Polaroid. We are, little squirrels going around and jumping here and there, and because it's easy. But being a big turtle to move an entire industry, even if you have smart and brilliant people inside, they might feel at some point frustrated because they can feel they miss on something that is going open source and that they might, prefer versus the vision of the company they are hired in. And so, I'm not saying I would encourage those to go out because it's not that easy, but maybe encourage the company to understand better what it's all going to be about, and that make them maybe realize that the tsunami is too big for them to surf at some point. So this week we've seen Swae Lee from what is it called, Eardrummers, which is an artist I love as well, that made this NFT on SuperRare, first NFT from Swae Lee. But again, no music. It's a soundtrack.
Shit. SuperRare.
With a little mention, SuperRare. Shout out to SuperRare. But again, no music. It's a way of getting a foot in, but still stuck. And I'm kind of waiting for the first Mike Will Made It NFT, and soon the first DJ Khaled NFT, like another one. I want it.
Facts, dude. I don't know how to feel about this. I love it, but man, this should just show the psychology of artists right now, seeing this NFT space, just straight desperate. Like, they're just so desperate to get their fucking feet wet and get their pockets filled with this market. It seems so obvious to me.
It's like most of them are like, okay, how do I get out of my current situation now that I understand that I can live freely?
Right.
And manage my own business without, because most of them have big communities, big audience, and they can just roll out one NFT and win the lottery with $1 million NFT, pretty much.
Right.
So what about waiting after a contract deal, record deal that is about to pay me, or maybe pay me, or they will pay me something that is nothing compared to this NFT thing that I can manage on my own. So hell, what am I doing now? How do I get the hell out of this?
Right. And I mean, like, it's clear that they can't get out of it, so they're just desperately going to create, just some total random whatever you want to call it, like 3D rendering video, which I mean is kind of sick. I love it. I mean, it's dope. They got the Tesla vehicles, it looks like, or like at least like the style of.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very, very well made. But you know what? That was the same. I had this feeling from typing NFT and music on YouTube, and this week we've seen plenty of videos like how-to or small tutorials. But what's the common points between all of those is the panic. Like all these YouTube influencers trying to jump on NFT and music, saying, "Hey, that's the best revolution of all time." They are all, when you look at their body language on all videos, they are in panic mode. Like, I have to exploit this information to attract my viewers so I can look the most cool guy, and at the same time educate. Sure, that's the great aspect I see from it. But the panic modes, betrays the envy to jump on that idea to, again, be the first to talk about it. But
well, shit. Hey, no disrespect to us, but that's. I mean, look at this podcast. You know what I'm saying? We just said, hey, We said, hey, on random. First of all, shout out TokenSmart and Sandy and Rizzle for basically just tossing a Hail Mary up and just saying, yeah, you guys can have a show. But it's like very similar in the sense that like we were like, look, we're here now. Granted, we were in it for like a couple months, and you were in it for even longer than me for like basically a year. And we were just like, hey, this space is it. I'm all in. Like I don't do anything else at this point. I'm pretty much 99% Web3, whether I'm doing it, music or whatever. But my point is, we were even like, yeah, like let's start a show and let's start talking about it. So I feel the quote FOMO of people wanting to get involved and get in there, but I don't. I have a problem with it. Not a problem with it, but I think I have like a weird friction with somebody like with that last one that we just saw. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I love Swae Lee too. Like, and I love the idea of wanting to take and benefit off of it, but it's really hard to weed out like what is a money grab and what is like a cry for help and what is like what's going to happen when these people are free. What's going to happen when they're all free to actually mint what they want and say fuck labels fully? What's going to happen? And I don't know how. Yeah, and that's a good point actually. Somebody just commented, people that are in here are very protective. I am gaining that as well. I'm gaining the same sort of feeling myself because I don't know how many people are here for the right reasons. And I mean, look at me and you, Mighty. We're independent artists. We both work on a lot of stuff. As independent artists as well as producers, engineers, we do a lot of stuff. I haven't seen you minting every single NFT you could possibly do. I haven't even minted an NFT yet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think that I don't want to say that maybe I'm being too patient, but like I just want to make sure that when we go about what we're gonna do, and we are gonna do it, no doubt. But when we go about doing what we're gonna do, I just want to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons and like we're utilizing the technology for the potential that there is. But I just see a lot of these things happening, and I'm like, and it does seem like scrambling for money. But I guess there is a good perspective. Is like I don't mind people scrambling for money. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's like I can't be mad at somebody who just wants to make more money than they already have,
sure.
but at the same time, it's like it's gonna ruin the vibe. It's throwing the vibe off. You know what I mean?
Not only, but it's about combining the business and the creative, so that the creative can feel better about doing business and
the vibe is important. Facts.
So yeah, for sure, it's about setting a business level playing field for business. So people will be here to add value to things, whether they are not artists or producers, and most may do a great job doing so. And because some people just are better in seeing and pumping values that artists may be in themselves. So I definitely invite the people that are interested in, gambling music, for example, to get involved in the space and try to experiment from that perspective as well. So, but at the same time, yeah, artists are trying to demonstrate what it is from its roots, like because it all starts from the creative and what it's about to free an artist to the point that he can actually make a living out of his art. That's very basic. It's just about first setting a layer of artists that can definitely live of their art, and then for sure invite all the business people around and gamble around this.
Right. And there's a couple good comments here. BB Studios won't make money until it demonstrates its value. That's huge facts, bro. And I mean, like that's a good point, even for like where we're coming from, which is like at the end of the day, you can't make money until you put yourself out there and start minting.
Yeah, it's all about reputation.
But there's another.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say there's another comment. It says it does change the vibe, but the change is inevitable. I agree, but I wouldn't say that this is like the inevitable change that we're seeing. I think that what we're seeing right now is the floodgates opening up from people basically being like, "Hey, I can see that there's money being made here, and I'm gonna exploit the fuck out of it as much as I can. I'm gonna exploit the fuck out of my fans that are already here, would have bought a ticket to my show this week, but now I'm gonna go ahead and do this, that, and the other, and I'm gonna put out our 3D rendering of really nothing that's valuable, and it's going to make disgusting amounts of money, which I'm not saying is a bad thing off rip. I'm just saying that it's creating a different ecosystem. I wouldn't say that that's the change. I think that the change is going to come. The change that's inevitable is going to come from artists doing this, right? It's going to come
Yeah.
from the celebrities doing this. That's what's going to cause the whole game to change. They're ruining it faster than it could be ruined, but it's not like they're ruining it. I hate to just demonize the rich or so to speak, or the celebrities, but I think that there is like, it's just such a balance here. It's like I want to see everybody utilize the space for what it's worth and use it for its potential. But then there's that balancing of understanding that, this isn't what it's for. And the more that we use it for just monetary gains, the harder it's going to be to sell it to the mainstream for something that Spotify is not going to just buy up and do exactly what I said, which is something where they kind of monopolize the whole game, and then they do it and they cheapen it for the newcomers, and then they make it way easier for everybody, but then they're taking once again 80% of the profit.
Mhm.
That's what I'm worried about because of all of this overexcitement almost. And it's not overexcitement, it's hard
But
to explain.
that was me foreseeing that at the metaverse culture at some point will be bigger than all those actors individually or even collectively, but in the wrong direction, because I like it will sound ancient, like how do you say, like dinosaurs, to go against the metaverse culture that at some point will have its own life, not waiting for the big companies and stuff, and that will make money like we see with the blockchain, the early blockchain NFTs like CryptoPunks and CryptoKitties, and they are not waiting for anyone to make millions of dollars out of these. And now the minting platforms like Opensea and Rarible get double digits millions of profit each month, and that's kind of astonishing. I think many major labels are kind of jealous of that growth, because that's the one they have been missing for 20 years, that they have seen decreased and decreased year after year and not finding any solution. And so this has caused a lot of struggle amongst the artists all around the world, and benefited to only a few mega celebrities. There is no in between, between mega celebrities and the big web of artists all around the world. So, like you said once, this will help create a middle class of artists that will, benefit. And maybe I wish that's the best I wish, to improve the life of everyone in this economy, the music economy.
Right. You're totally right. And it's just I guess the fear that I have is that's going to be solved in a way that's going to really give up a massive amount of leverage by giving it to a centralized power that's
Mhm.
going to make all of what we're talking about super easy.
Yeah.
It's going to make it way easier for everybody. It's going to make it more fun too.
And
It's going to
BB
it's all
Studio
up.
is right. It's all about setting the first foundation that the music industry has ever created. Because if all the the bad actors exploit, artists exploits the game, exploits everything because they've been first here, it's because there still is no law. Of course, there is laws, but it's still kind of the Wild West, where there is no technology to back and to actually set a foundation that is that cannot be compromised. Because that's the point here, is that there are laws mostly built by the one that build the market, and so they know how to take advantage from those laws they set up and stuff. So it has created a big mess of artists all around the world, whether they feel trapped in deals, whether they feel kind of slaves, and we can talk about Britney Spears, and we can talk about a lot of artists and very shady situations all around the world.
Right.
That we anyhow. And I lost what I was about to say.
Well, just
It's
to
just
like kind
it
of
was
like
setting a foundation. Yeah, the blockchain will set the first foundation, and something where everything is connected that cannot be compromised. Whether it's about the royalties metadata all over the world, whether it's about the tracking of the money, the business, the smart contracts, it will this public record, the centralized record, will not cannot be compromised. And that's the most interesting thing, to set a real foundation for the upcoming music economy.
right. Yeah, and I mean, I like this one comment. Bye bye All Star System and Hello Neighbor Artist. I agree with this, no doubt. In the future, the question is that going to be what we hope it is? And I don't know. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to maybe play devil's advocate today, throw out those potential negative aspects of what's happening right now. But I agree. I mean, I think the number one thing that's going to be different here is that there's not going to be many celebrities anymore. There's going to be celebrity communities.
Mhm.
So
You know
it's
what?
going to be
I I had a fun moment when I was playing around OpenAI, which is a company which is founded by Elon Musk, and it's early access to one of the best text generating AI. And so I had an access. I don't know how I got there, but then I have an access. And then you tell the AI stuff, and it generate text that is related to what you ask it to do. And I asked him, if I was talking about the blockchain space, and the geniuscorp has an incubator and stuff, and it was like finding the perfect catchphrase. And so I give it some instruction, like, can you tell me what's the best catchphrase for teenager girls over Facebook to talk about empowering artists and release them, to be free and stuff. And what the AI answered me, the catchphrase he gave me, the catchphrase was, "I don't need to be a star to be a genius." And I was like, whoa. Okay, that's it. That's the whole vibe, and that's the best catchphrase I could have ever come with. But it totally sums up the thing. Like, I don't have to be a star to be a genius. Point. Period.
Yeah, that's some jail cell bars right there. That's incredible. But yeah, I mean, maybe you should ask him how we can stop the I'll just stop myself right there. Well, shit, we've been on this topic for a minute, which I love. I think this has got some good thoughts on it, but I mean, we're not going to figure it out, but it's interesting to see this all play out. We got mad celebrities in here now. They're all going to start minting. We can't stop that, but it's a matter of how can we as
Education,
an OG community, how can we as an OG community help guide this all? And I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to be able to stop shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but like,
no,
I'm
that's
just saying,
the opposite. We have to, get ahead and educate, and at the same time show the example of what's the fanciest, feature that we can exploit to show the direction which is going towards.
all the celebs else are incoming are still taking vacations. Yeah, because they made so much money off of us plebeians fucking consuming their art the past 5 years. No disrespect to us, though, of course.
So yeah, moving on to the next topic, we have the music ATH all-time high from Blow, I think, this week, that sold his album for something like 11.6 million worth of NFT. So I guess it's a package. It's not only one NFTs, and maybe more than just the album. They could have some, extra sales around the album, I think. But that's definitely an all-time high for a musician, I think, here. We've seen
So,
Deadmore 5 having great numbers as well. Yeah.
this was crazy though. I
Yeah.
mean, and we were just shitting on our celebrities like making a ridiculous amount of money, but this right here is actually insane. I
Yeah.
mean, 11.6
big shout out
million.
to
I mean,
him.
dude,
I love his work.
I don't even know if an artist on tour can make that much money. I mean, in a year. I mean, that is disgusting right there. And so once again, like this is turning eyes. This is turning heads of every major player in the
Sure.
game, and they're like, I need to get my pockets into this game.
Mhm.
Do I think that that's going to be? Yeah, I mean, did he though? Look, I'm not saying that he didn't put a lot of thought and effort into the drop, but my point is like, there's only so much we can do with an NFT drop, guys. There's only so much to do, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's like, I'm just saying that was that worth $11.6 million? I mean, yes, obviously that's what the market decided, but I think what I'm trying to get at is like. And yes, sure, you can put a lot of effort into a drop, but once again, it's like there's still limited amounts of creativity that can go into these things. At the end of the day, you're going to put a song in there, you're going to put a visual in there, and then you're going to give exclusive access to something, and maybe you can make it even more creative for like a future unlock of things. But I mean, dude, $11.6 million for
But that's
what we saw here.
That's a question that is being asked in the traditional art. I mean, the visual art, where you see the Beeple's drops and a lot of these NFTs that are they really overpriced? The future will tell us, but that's the current game, the current setup of the world that creates this phenomenon where we see these highly priced NFTs. But,
Yeah, and
mhm.
I've been playing devil's advocate the whole episode, but I am gonna go and just double down on my devil's advocate, and I'm gonna say that yes, I do think it's overpriced.
Yeah, but
Because you
the
gotta think,
secondary market
dude,
will balance.
it will. Yeah, secondary market will decide.
Yeah, we will see in 10 years. We can have the same conversation in 10 years and see what was overpriced or not. And I guess it also depends on the artist's career or that I don't know if something good or bad happens in the career artist. How does it influence? Because all artist careers in NFT space are pretty short yet, so we don't know how these dynamics plays out when it comes to reputation, because we know how reputation can be weird and tricky, because when you see people writing love letters to serial killers in the prisons, that's weird reputation phenomenon happening here, and we don't know how this kind of phenomenon will affect NFTs. Someone can have a really bad reputation and still sell highly priced NFTs because this specific vibe of reputation, whether it's good or bad, works for the people that dig it. You see?
Here's a curveball, and this isn't necessarily music related, but what if? And because just going off of what you just said, whether you have a good or a bad reputation, what's going to cause that to sell? There's a couple things I actually wanted to mention, but this popped into my head, so I want to say it. What if Donald Trump himself made an NFT? What would that sell for? I need to see some ideas here in the chat, please. What would Donald Trump's NFT sell for? It's a 5-second clip of him saying all of his most extreme things. What would that sell for realistically?
10 cents, 2.4 million. We have different takes here. Priceless. Yeah.
See, like, no, but like I could agree to the priceless. It's there. This market right now is so unpredictable in a lot of ways, and it's such an interesting time right now. It's almost misleading for the little guys. Like if I were to go mint a song that will never be released on any platform right now, today, what would that sell for? It might not even sell. Like that's my point, is like, but then you got somebody else who's, well known in a particular community, and his shit sells for, and there was multiple pieces, of course. It's not like there was one piece that sold for 11.6 million. So if somebody's listening and they don't understand that, This was an auction of, I think, multiple pieces that
Mhm.
tallied up to 11.6 million for the blow drop at least. But it's like, what would that? It's misleading to somebody like myself who's like, all right, I wanna drop an NFT, but it's like, then nobody sees it and you don't get any sales, and
Mhm.
that's the last time that guy spends $50 minting something, right? So
Mhm.
it's misleading, but then it's like, yeah, like it's really it's just on hype, because who knows what the people that the marketing is a huge part. Maybe it's so hard to tell. I think like
I don't know. I think it's also from the community, whether it's when it comes to the developers, or the influencers, but as well as the investors, to develop tools that will help, highlight all the unseen layers of NFTs. Like the crypto music community, they are having this issue right now where there is no music-oriented marketplace because now the filters on different platforms doesn't, show up music properly, and so we are start to be allowed to mint music. It goes very quickly, but at the same time, when you want to look for it, there's actually no place other than Twitter to filter that properly. I mean, and so there's these big stars that has this their own audience, big audience on Twitter, so they can sell their NFT pretty easily. But like you said, the whole layer of people, minting NFT that are under the radar, and that they still have not much, tools to be highlighted, and that's where curation, a whole level of curation, decentralized application will come into place, I think, to highlight, the filter the genres, filter the artist by different criteria, so that it levels up all this layer from the community. All the NFTs that are totally
I can vibe.
underrated.
I could vibe with something like that for sure. And I mean, yeah, like I see people saying like it's not different than the art world. If we're talking like just the NFT world in general, I mean, sure. I think that the difference between the traditional art world that we've seen before NFTs and before this, and where we are right now, is I fuck with the art guilds, by the way. I would be curious to see that in practice, but I think it could be interesting. But what I was gonna say is the only difference here is that this is gonna be more popular. There's no doubt. I think one of the biggest things that we're gonna have, the biggest shifting that's happening right now, is I believe that more people are now into the idea of art. Like more people are artists nowadays. I would say that if you look at TikTok, once you gave kids an ability, a simple app that they could then be creative on, all of a sudden you got all of these people being super creative, because exactly, there's more access to the ability for them to create create actual creative content, or
Mhm.
engaging
Yeah.
fun stuff. The same thing with music, right? Like you give someone auto-tune, and no disrespect to myself, but my point is you give someone auto-tune and all of a sudden they can make a song, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
becoming easier to create, and so therefore everybody is now an artist, and now all of a sudden we're going to shift into the
Because human
masses
nature
being
is creative by essence, by nature. So I think
right.
having more tools to be able to do so and interconnect, Web3 market that is, makes everyone at home possible to market it fairly. That totally changed the whole paradigm. Yeah.
Right. It's interesting, but yeah, I would say that the only difference I'm seeing from the traditional to now is just simply that there's going to be more people in the market, because everybody will be in the market. Nobody wants to go, no disrespect, but like I'm just saying, nobody wants to show up at an art gallery where you got to be quiet and you got to stare at the art for 10 minutes. I mean, this isn't a bad thing, but and now you're gonna find in 5 years there's gonna be an app where everybody is on, and it's gonna be the cool thing is who's gonna have the next biggest art piece, whether that's a song or that's a visual or whatever it is. I just think that that's the biggest shift we have right now.
Yeah.
That's
I
also
and I saw.
maybe why we're seeing so much massive. That's maybe why we're seeing such massive influx of actual money too, is
Mhm.
because there's more people here now and there's more money coming from people who wouldn't have been into art if it wasn't for this.
Yeah.
So
Because I've seen tweets this week saying like from investors, like they came for the hype and they stayed for the love of art, and because they discovered the connection in them, that they love art, and they finally connect to a market that make them they can be part of, they can invest, they can interact with it as investors. And I think the investor's life can be pretty boring or gray, when you're in an office talking about math and numbers all day. And so being an investor with the open perspective of doing the same job, but when it comes to art, it makes them, I think it makes their day. Like, okay, I'm gonna change something in my everyday.
I mean, it's a great point. And who, like, depending on how things go, it could create whole ass companies where like their whole job, every employee is just finding the next big stock, quote unquote.
Exactly.
Instead of stock, they're just trying to find that next
and
NFT.
They will naturally become curators.
Right. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. And it probably is already happening. I mean, these people are well ahead of us. That's like the statement earlier where we were talking about Spotify and Apple Music, like they're trying to act oblivious. Like they know 100% what's going on, and they're plotting way more than we think they are. They're
sure,
no
doubt.
They are getting ready, dude. They are getting prepared. I don't know how. I don't know what. I don't know if they're going to help. They're certainly not going to be in the benefit of the small guy, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Plotting.
Plotting, exactly. Yeah, and that's definitely what I feel right now about them. They are plotting. I've seen job ads of blockchain leading engineers from Spotify. I've seen this kind of stuff, going on in the background when you check out some jobs websites. And so they're definitely plotting something, but they are not too open about it. They speak about it, but in small rooms, just saying, "Hey, we're here for the technology." Yes, we're here.
Right.
But
right.
it's not as obvious as those decentralized tools and the kind of communication they adopt, like Opensea, Rarible, anything. It's not the same. The same talk, the same energy. So I wanted to mention that. Yeah, go ahead.
One. I was gonna say one final thing. I was just about to say is like these massive companies are PR geniuses, and I don't mean genius in a good way. I'm saying like they know how to throw the words together to do one thing and not really reveal their cards. So they're smart with when it comes to wording and how they want to put things. So but yeah, we're sticking on this topic a while, which I love. I love it.
They're definitely learning from the language, the blockchain language, to benefit from them.
Right.
We've seen that this week.
Exactly. So they can cast their spells on us even better.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention Richie Hawtin from the UK, if I recall correctly, which is an I would call it DJ back in the days, but he's a electronic music producer that I personally follow since the early 2000s because he made hit records when I was doing mine from under the name of Body Rocks, and this one is still my favorite of all times. And he learned about NFTs, and again, he had his first NFTs minted on Zora, but no audio. It's one of the greatest, house music, electronic music producers I know. Like technically, he's ahead of, he's very, very, he's a genius, very advanced technically and businessly as well, because he toured all around the world for so much time. But his first NFT is not music, so I'm wondering, don't you have any MP3 sleeping in your hard drive to experiment that? I understand coming with a still image, but yes, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just wondering, like you said, if you are very prolific, what's the situation that blocks you from experimenting right away with music, like from day one?
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. And you said he meant it on Zora, and it brought up just a thought in my head. Is like, what do you think is drawing these celebrities to Zora? Do you think it's just Zora's PR team, like just reaching out and just hitting them up and
Can
saying,
be.
"Hey, mint on
I
Zora"?
don't know.
Is it is it simplicity? Is it
I think
the
it's
sleek?
the work of the team, definitely.
Yeah, do you think do you see Zora as, because to me, and I know we asked this on like episode 3 or 4 with one of our guests, it's, do we see Zora as different than a Nifty Gateway, or like, cuz they all do the same thing in theory, and you can in theory do similar things on all of them, but the question is Zora doing something that is enticing people to say, this is where I want to do it? What is it? What is it that is what is it that's causing Zora to kind of get all of these artists? I'm curious. And yeah, Reggie Watts on Zora, I don't know. And I know they started their thing, that I Am Sound, which looked cool as shit. And like you said, I think you said that most of them sold out, I believe, was what you
Yeah,
said. Which is great, but it's just, I'm just curious, and this isn't like, even devil's advocate this time. I'm just more curious. What do you think is causing people to go to Zora?
I don't know. I genuinely think it's the team's work, the team behind Zora, that is working really hard to connect, and that maybe already have connection within the industry. So I don't know. I'm just speculating here. I haven't got involved much with Zora yet, mostly because of the gas fees. Because I really opened it
Yeah.
from day one, but I was kind of stuck there with the gas store. So I definitely want to experiment with it. And at the same time, I see those great connections. But yeah, I think it's from my logic, trying to retro engineer. It might come from initial connections and hard work from the team to onboard, to first develop and then onboard artists into the platform.
Right. Man, I just thought of an idea. What if someone minted a song on Zora, and then basically, like, in the description said, "Hey, if you buy this, you can put it out as you." You know what I mean? You just
That's
you just
great.
put up like 20 tracks, and you're like, "Hey, somebody go buy all these tracks, and then you can go and put them up on Spotify as an album."
Or
That'd
one
be fucking
shots. Yeah.
that'd be fucking lit, dude. That'd be crazy. I'm about to do it myself. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm up to try this kind of thing. Yeah, so shout out as well. We have a new, as we were talking about, it's a music oriented marketplace that is going to open on March 9, which is Catalog, which we talked about in previous shows. It's the team behind Loft Radio. That was the first radio where you could tip artists that were playing on the radio straight with your MetaMask with Ethereum. And now, they kind of jumped on this new project that is Catalog. And that the promise is to be a music oriented, 100% oriented marketplace. So, like Rocky is one to me. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm pretty excited to connect there. And yeah, I just wanted to drive attention on that so that the community can connect to it and experiment with it. I'm definitely excited about it because I loved their previous work from the team as well, and I see they can have as well some great connections, whether it's within the industry or already with the blockchain, the metaverse. So
Yeah.
they are definitely in a great position to change, bring the awareness of the necessity of the music-oriented marketplace to other platforms by doing it first, and being focused on it. And so yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see. So rendezvous
I do.
in 6 days.
Yeah. So is this going to be open to every artist?
I maybe not on day one, because they've announced that they are going to, reveal the first artist that is going to mint on Catalog. So maybe the very first day it will be about onboarding. I don't know if it will be totally open or by selection at first, but I think the goal is definitely to open. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this does look sick. I was told about this fucking months ago,
Mhm.
and I'm very excited about this. I think that like my excitement for it might have died down a bit, but like I mean the second that I see it working, and what's cool about Catalog is built on Zora, so that's interesting.
No, it's built on Audius.
What?
Isn't that it? That's what Connie told us back in the days, and it was built on
Oh, really?
Audius. But
I'm pretty sure. I mean, and look, this is the point of the show is to figure these things out because we are no experts. Let's
mhm.
be very clear. We are not experts. But hey, we are working musicians in the Web3 world. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's built on Zora, but I really don't know now that you say that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
who
we will
knows?
verify this, but we will know it very soon. And yeah, another platform news from Async. They kind of be teasing something. It's kind of mysterious, but Async is basically, stem layers for visual art, so that you can own separate layers of a piece of art, and then each owners can interact with the masterpiece. And they just kind of teased something where they just told audio on and put out something, a little something with music attached to it. Pretty mysterious here, but I think it has fascinated many because it has over 10,000 views and a lot of retweets and likes. Because this may be disruptive, like historically disruptive, if Async has worked on something that can, split music, or I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they are about, but
Oh, is that
they
what that might
definitely
be?
get. I don't know. We'll see. But
Hey, that's a good pickup though. I didn't think about that. I like their logo. I mean, I like the way they
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
That's cool.
absolutely. But they
That's a good
didn't,
vibe.
they didn't share any piece of music in their Twitter. So that's kind of the first time, and they're signing it at the end, async, at the end of the teaser. And there's this obvious, note, big note that represents music. So it's the whole tweet is about music and signed async. So yeah, it got some attention, a lot of comments as well from the community. Is wondering, is this really audio layers? What the fuck? And stuff. So
Right.
yeah, pretty excited to see this happening.
Yeah. Got shout out that records. Throws the fire emojis.
Yeah.
Classic.
So
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. I definitely have heard of it. I just didn't know what that was actually going to be about.
mhm.
There's so much stuff popping up, which is great. And
Yeah.
hopefully next week we have a lot more.
Like this one. Shout out to Connie for sending us this one. That's new video games where players
100%.
will create their own NFT. Basically, the video game decided it will have no soundtrack, and having no soundtrack means that the players themselves will be the soundtrack. So they will mint the music for the video games, and then I think trade it into the games and stuff. So that's very interesting concept. That's a new way to look at music and video games combined together.
Yeah, and this is something that I believe is way bigger. To me, this is really fucking cool because I believe that the thing that we're seeing right now is like all money grabs and maybe people FOMOing in and doing this, that, and the other. But there are some serious things that are being missed. One of the things that I think is hugely undervalued right now is just the concept of metaverse, period. Whether we're talking Decentraland, crypto voxels, or any of these metaverse worlds, I believe that is possibly the most overlooked situation right now. Maybe I'm naive and I'm just not
Yeah.
paying attention, but something like this is exactly what I could see creating a whole culture. Like imagine a video game that pops off the way Fortnite did, or pops off the way that any massive multiplayer online game. And then basically what comes from that is a whole economy
New
of
market.
creators.
Yeah. For music and for other kind of art.
Yep. Only in the metaverse? Dude, that is something I could see really, really working and really creating a serious culture. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. The culture behind that is what will create, because that's the biggest thing. There's nothing is gonna blow up all the way until there's real culture behind it. Until it is cool to have this, or until it is a status symbol, and it doesn't need to be expensive either. It just needs to say something. And if it's in a video game, which I think is going to only blow up more and more, which is the concept of video games, and the idea of metaverses, and then you combine that with exclusive music that are NFTs inside of that,
Mm-hmm.
dude, now we got something. Now we got something to play with, because you could have somebody who just says, "I'm only making music for this video game, and I'm only going to walk around,
Yeah,
and I'm
that's what I
only
was
gonna."
thinking. Like, imagine from a major, or a Spotify point of view or anything, they might not have seen this coming, absolutely, because there would be, like, what? An artist doesn't want to be a superstar. He doesn't want to sell records. He doesn't want to. What's happening? What are we missing here? Because someone can just start a music career and do music for the whole metaverse economy, just for being showcased in crypto voxels parcels in any type of game, or that includes or integrates systems like this. And then it creates a whole economy that the traditional industry would just be staring at it like, what the fuck? Just the logic, having the logic to get into it, creates a gap that is like too big to feel for them at some point.
Right. But yeah, I mean, yeah, super interesting. I like that. I like some of these comments are hilarious. Celebs need to respect the call. That's why Bitcoin dropped 10K when Lindsay Lohan tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a good dip. That was a good dip.
Yeah.
You're
Shout out
into
to
this.
Savage Preeps here with us. And
Shout out Savage Preeps. Shout out to BB Studios. You've been chatting it up with us all day. Love it. Shout out Rancho. Shout out fucking JSO Green. Don't know. That's your first comment. You don't deserve the shout out, but I'm gonna give it to you anyways. Shout out Huber Snakes or Snacks. Love it. You've been
shout
chatting
out
with
Les
us.
Français home here.
Ayume, Axie GG, Dolphin NFT. Shout out GB, Raffy, Dead Polaroid,
Lucas
Got
and
the Preserve,
everyone.
Measly.
Shout out to
Saw
the
you
whole
typing.
chat.
We appreciate the banter. We do. We really like it when we get to have some
Absolutely.
good chats.
And I think we went over all the topics, so shall we
Jose or
have a
Josie?
little bit of underrated NFTs to close the show? I got a few of them opened.
Yeah, no, please. Fast rabbit hole, whatever.
So yeah, that's the one that really inspires me, talking about the a cappella, sample banks, drum kits, melodies, cross production, trackable royalties and stuff. Because this one reminded me, like 10 years ago when I was in the EDM industry, even if we didn't call it EDM back in the days, because once it started to be labeled as EDM, that's where the shit started to take a bad direction. So as a real OG, before EDM was actually EDM, in the music business, towards labels, there were DJs were not sophisticated musician. They got great ears, but they needed materials, to put drum loops onto it to make a record, actually. So they were all about sampling, playing with arpeggiators on their synthesizers to come up with melodies that came up by themselves just by pushing one button. And so they basically needed materials to work on when they were not, advanced musicians. And so it existed a kind of companies that had acapellas, acapellas catalog for them to pick one to make a record, basically. And I think it's interesting because I see that happening again, but through the blockchain, which is, to me, interesting. That's an acapella from Moonmanti that I discovered today, and I loved it. Where is the sound? The sound is
Let's
here.
have a listen.
Yeah.
Pardon my strange reaction. Ooh, what a feeling that I got. Ooh, what a feeling. Ooh, what a strange attraction. Nothing like the healing that I get. Nothing like the healing. Baby, can you feel
It's beautiful. But you see the direction it's going to? It's definitely, thinking in, in a professional way that, like, it's an invitation to use these acapellas to work, and in a business environment, basically.
Right. Dude, it's very similar to what I was thinking about with the one of one Illmind, I could sell you could sell a one of one hook, right? And you could write a whole song, right? Make it to a beat of your own and then just basically mute the beat and just say, "Hey, take this vocal and make your own track with it, and then you can call it your own. Just credit me." That's a fucking fire idea, dude. That's something. What's great about this show is this gives me ideas. This is a very interesting. We should mess around with this idea. This is sick.
Yeah, definitely, because that's something I'm foreseeing a lot, and that I'm really into. Having a whole music material marketplace, music-oriented marketplace for final craft is a good thing, but the music industry will definitely benefit from having music materials, stems, acapellas, drum kits, and stuff that will necessitate to be tracked over time and so on. That is a whole ecosystem on its own. That it's the remixing on the blockchain thing. It has to do with the remixing because you can remix final masters, but as well as use pure, material to create new things. Materials that are created to this purpose, like melodies and drums and stuff.
Dude, that's sick, dude. Imagine. Oh man, dude, I just got such a crazy idea. Man, I'm not gonna lie, like I just got such an idea, and I'm so curious what you think about it. Should I throw it right now?
If you want.
I mean, I'll throw it right now. So let's just say, for example, just a little disclosure. Mighty and I have been working on some things together. Mighty has been helping me finish up my my first album. He's been fucking just basically making them sound way better than they should. And what if with the, let's just say, this is all theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say we include a solo acapella of the vocals in every single, or we just include the stems maybe, but let's not do the stems. Let's just say, just for just to mess around with the idea, we include the acapella vocal within each NFT for that song, and then those people who own those NFTs can then take that vocal track and you can make your own song with it in royalty free, or maybe like a small cut, but like that's a vibe, dude. That's a vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because imagine, say, somebody releases a hit song, and I know on TikTok you see this. This is what's probably fucked up about TikTok. There's so many remixes of songs and tracks on TikTok with sounds.
And this was happening before with the DJs, because any DJs from any kind of clubs has to have their version the reggaeton version of Rihanna, the metal version of Rihanna, so everyone did their remixes, but they were all under, the official, they were not official. But they all existed, and the dynamic to create those are happening and will happen in the future, because when there's a hit song, like every community wants his version of it, and the original artist would it would be great if they benefit from that dynamic.
Dude, you're giving me so many thoughts right now, and that's so true, dude. Because and that might be an evolution of music that we're talking about right now, like a potential future of music, where it's like, instead of, hey, like I just made a song and it's a hit. Well, what if that
make
song
yours, make it yours, basically?
Yeah, everybody, bro, exactly, dude.
But
everybody wants.
Imagine if the make it yours was actually trackable on the blockchain for the next 1,000 years, and that the original creators of the song can be able to track all the versions that has originated from his, first NFT.
Dude, I find that to be so intriguing and so collaborative and so forward thinking. That is something that's really interesting to me. We're gonna have to definitely talk about this later.
Sure. So let me play another one from Latasha.
Lawyers love this kind of shit.
Sure.
Lawyers do be loving this shit, dude. I wish I was a lawyer. If I could go back in time, real shit, if I did one other thing with my life, I'd be a lawyer, because I'd be a dominant lawyer. I would be so ruthless. Because I would just know if I was right or wrong. Like, law is pretty basic. You either know and then you don't. So, but that's irrelevant. We don't want to get off topic.
Let's go into another one from Latasha, which I discovered after discovering Coco Member that we showcased last week. And I think it's part of the kind of same connection. And yeah, I love this one. She minted something, previous work from 2018, but now it's minted on Zora. And I'm wondering how, sorry to cut it, the independent artist that doesn't have necessarily a lot of Ethereum in their wallet mints on Zora first, because we mentioned it, the gas price was pretty high, and then minting on Zora was pretty high as well. And so minting your first ever NFT on Zora, when you look for better technology and stuff, and I'm wondering if it's kind of the best move because of the hype being on Zora, or what's dominant, the hype being on Zora, or having the best technology to showcase what it's all about in the end. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you mean like you think people are basically paying the extra buck to get on Zora because they think it's cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, dude, that's like the number one place I've been thinking about. I just love the name. I love the name Zora. It's kind of hard as fuck.
Yeah, so let's play this.
Drop my water bottle in front of J.Cole Summer Jam VIP Hot 97 once. A caravan of rappers in a tiny room. I was still in my cocoon, metaphorically, of course. My voice is hoarse from smoking heavy New Jersey blunts with an X that was a little too blunt for my cunt. Tight as fuck, but still soft on the inside. Almost died when I asked Kendrick if he remembered me, and he said nah. A true Jill, I was rocking a head wrap way before the trend, cause I was on some ascension map. And someone told me my core speak to deity, so I gotta protect that and kill my ego's dream. And that's when I shrunk and lost a solid part of me. Yeah.
So yeah, big shout out to Latasha. I love this work, and I love to discover new artists through the blockchain world.
It's hard.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that was just my thought about Zora, and that's not necessarily towards Latasha, it's towards lot of artists that are doing so. So I'm just kind of wondering, and like you said, what's behind it that makes it so. And so big shout out to Zora for this awesome work, because that works basically, and we love to see the adoption they are driving and the onboarding of artists, which is absolutely awesome. They, I think, onboarded more cool artists than some other platforms. I don't know. I'm just feeling they are sensitive to music, like very sensitive to music, and I always like to see that, because that's a feel. I think artists feel if the platform is guided toward music or not, and at some point it will matter, in the choice of the.
For sure.
Mm.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. I don't know if you were posing the question, but I agree that I think what they believe the platform is going to be used for is definitely going to matter in the future.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if Catalog takes away at all from Zora when it comes to music, and I wonder if they are going to see. But I think right now it's just a bad time to tell, because I think all we're going to see for the next couple months to a year to multiple years is just adoption and more people getting involved with the space. So no matter what, I think we're just going to see more. But I'm definitely interested to see this NFT. I'm very excited about that.
I hope you know you paying extra for
That's
this
Latasha
fucking
as
third
well.
eye.
It's there too?
Yeah.
I hope you know you paying extra for this fucking third eye. I hope you know you paying extra for this fucking third eye.
Love the vibe.
I hope you know you paying extra for this fucking third eye. I hope you know you paying extra for this fucking third eye, bitch. I see things way beyond what you see. Trip bonding with my bonds like this is all I need, bitch. Born an icon, so wavy they are seasick. Genius on my pieces, butter like it's Reese's. Started out makeshift, now I got the team shit. You know better, I've been better. Go ahead and get her. I'll just feather the chickens like they was for dinner.
Let me tell you, this space is about to be so cool that I think we are going to reach level of coolness that has never been acquired by any industry actor as artist or stuff. That is going to be, once the artists are empowered, this is going to be hell out of cool. That is going to be, we are going to see, what I'm working on for the next past years, the real raw music, unaltered by the industry, like from the artist to the audience and back from the audience to the artist. In both ways, it's going to be, straightforward, and the music is going to be more authentic than it has ever been.
Dude, 100%. Couldn't agree more. And I think this is a really... Oh, dude, what's that? That's fucking mean, dude.
Yeah, that's... shout out to... Shout out to...
Dude, that is sick. GB, shout out, dude. That's fire.
Let me play... Brooke Fazil.
I'm the shoulder patch. I love it.
The artist name is Brooke Fazil. I discovered him in the Skrilla's Telegram channel. Shout out to the whole people in the channel here. And he shared one of his first NFT, and he did also a loop, something that has to do with the copyright and the sample and stuff. But this loop is an exclusive track. He has already a big record of music on YouTube and stuff, and his work is brilliant, and I love the vibe. So yeah, I wanted to showcase this really underrated artist and NFT. Trap vibe.
Move on my say so. No, I lay low. Move on my say so. I keep shit stable. Been known I'm able. Been playing chess moves. Fell in love with the blockchain. Deposit a wallet, I'm smoking the octane. This shit feels so stellar. Through the redneck sell 'em. RSI said it turned bullish, I'm excelling. I was watching 7 seconds. Crash almost turned fatal, had several seconds. Know they got a color preference, my vision is different. I'm living life with different lenses. Don't speak to me in past tenses. Mix the candy with the medicine. Why they drinking Robitussin? Do I really wanna go to the function? Walk in the gas station, said fuck Trump. Casher gave me all the Russians. All respect and no discussion. Plus he knew that I was rushing. My nigga Jada stay fly, he a Russian. Think about 2020 like a futurist. I fell in love with the blockchain. And best believe I'm in the real estate. And everybody got bills to pay. And you should buy a light tea today. Nobody gonna tell you to lead the way. Don't get led astray. I plan for tomorrow on a rainy day. I led by example.
And he tells the story. Like he fell in love with the blockchain. And now he's here and all up about it. I feel a good vibe from him. Yeah?
Hope it doesn't break his heart.
I hope so. Like for us.
That beat's hard as fuck though. I really was fucking with that beat.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Did you see this graphic right here? I don't know if you saw it. You had to have seen it, but the MightyMai graphic.
Yeah. That's the Pope. Grab your popes, folks. We're here to grab
the Pope?
popes. Yeah. I think.
Dude,
so,
I'm not gonna
yeah.
lie. I've never known what the I don't know what a pope is. Like I do now, kind of. But
It's proof of attendance to events on the blockchain.
wow.
So
proof
basically,
of
when you
attendance.
go into an event, that's a way to say, I've been there. And you can track my records of all the events I attended on the blockchain. And somehow you can be proud about it. Like it's your records of the events you went and stuff. So that's interesting. Yeah. Proof of attendance protocol. That's POAP.
Ensures the piece is unique. I think that's why important to me. I love it. Measly doing some research for us. That's what's up, dude. So that's interesting. He said that he read Zora's white paper and they basically add a layer to ERC 721 tokens that assures a piece of media is unique.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I personally am not all that savvy enough to know exactly what you're talking about, but I love it.
I will definitely dig into the Zora's white paper more intimately, but I'm sure
Easy
other
shout out, bro.
platforms does uniqueness ERC 721 tokens. So to me, there's other platforms that may be as important for musician if it comes to this. Like I think of Infinity NFT, for example, Infinity tokens, or different ones that gives you the 100% ownership over your contracts, your tokens, and the uniqueness of the tokens and stuff. So I don't know if it's a unique feature, or I don't know how this one is original, but I will definitely go into it.
Right. Is this another underrated?
Yeah, very quick one. So it's 30 seconds of full piano. You know, that's definitely the kind of thing that I could do as a pianist, and I love the vibe, kind of lo-fi piano vibe that I loved from Andy Feldman that started to mint these cool pieces. And so he's
That
a
is beautiful.
music instrumentalist, piano, neoclassical, jazz, ambient, and chill music. He's got music on Spotify and stuff. But I loved, the vision of having just 30 seconds of piano, chill piano in a lo-fi vibe. Like it all connects with the vibe that people are looking for here. And just shout out to him. That's a variation.
This is dope shit though.
Oh, BB Studio, we have an organist in the crowd. Sorry, I
Oh, he
clicked.
said he,
But
he
yeah,
said he don't play. He just enjoys organ.
yeah. And Tony Monaco will look into it, sure. And this one is funny because it's from from Buenos Aires, and I'm studying, the underground music vibe in South America right now. And this one, I have to put a disclaimer here. This one is going to refresh your ears into some weird percussion synthesis happening. But again, glad to see that happening on the blockchain and hopefully shine. That's Cavern music. Okay, I'm gonna stop here to finish the show.
I'm not gonna lie. Not surprised that one came from the motherland.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a major label, how do you work this kind of music? But here, I think it will automatically find its audience, naturally, and that it can do business with the weirdest genres of music all across the world and find their audience when you're trying to push this project to your local labels or stuff, and they might be like, I don't know, this is weird, I don't know what to do with it. And now with Web3, you could basically find your audience, and that's what I love here. And I love to listen, the diversity of the current South America music experimentations. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering, whenever we get like a platform like imagine, and this is like really like maybe a bit fairy tale, but imagine a platform that works algorithmically very similar to TikTok, in the sense that when you use TikTok for more than a fucking minute,
Hmm.
it all of a sudden knows everything you want to see and hear. And imagine if that was the case for NFTs, and they
Yeah.
find out what kind of NFTs you like, and now all of a sudden everybody's able to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of these NFTs. I mean, that technology that TikTok has is possibly the strongest algorithm that every developer and every app creator and every content app creator, whatever, should be trying to steal from,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
respectfully ask for, but you're probably gonna have to steal it.
So yeah, and last one before we close the show, because we are about to reach the 2 hour time mark, which is our record, and we are going to release everyone very soon. So
We are crushing.
big shout out to Studio Nouveau, which is working on 3D sculpture, to be displayed on virtual world that are related to music NFTs, for example, or music is part, of the overall experiment. That in the end comes to showcasing one by one sculpture piece into the metaverse, and that's something I'm working on as well with Check. We've been working on a piece that is basically a tree, and that tree we want to make it live in the metaverse, and this tree is associated with music as well. And so I was really inspired to see this unfold with the Studio Nouveau. So it helps me, figure out how I can, go in that direction. And it has to do, with low poly and stuff. So currently my tree is billions of polygons, so I have to figure out a way to for it to be able to be implemented into the space. But this one is made beautifully. It has some very simple lo-fi characteristic, as well as being a complex form that is truly unique and associated to this piece on this piece of music. So I think both should be showcased together.
Beautiful plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nicely executed. And I wish in the future we can, come closer to that piece and just listen to the music that emanates from it. And that's what I would love to do with the my personal tree project, or even these NFTs. I would love to, come in Decentraland or CryptoVoxels and stand by to the pieces and then hear the music that emanates from it. I mean, you can basically set it up already in CryptoVoxels manually. You just set up a music player under the piece. But I know they are working on more, on these 3D Web3 files to implement, GBL or GLB files, 3D files that are minted from the 3D artist to be showcased in CryptoVoxels, but it's not implemented yet. And so I don't know if it's possible in Decentraland. I guess Studio Nouveau would have done it if so, but that would be, for me, great to combine both and have the music that emanates from the structure, actually. So shout out to Decentraland, shout out to Studio Nouveau and to the casino we're in, because we're into the big casino of decentral games. And that's pretty much it for this week, guys.
Yeah, wow. What an episode.
Yeah, that was great.
Gotta say thanks to everybody for coming through, of course.
Yeah, and all the participation again. Really nice insight from the community as well, again. And thanks for TokenSmart and from all the team and Connie Digital as well, because he was really involved in, sharing news with us so we can stay ahead of, our topic list and still rock and respect our reputation altogether. And so, big shout out to the crypto music community as well. I wish this week we work even harder to connect all together and try to. I don't want to sound too utopist, like that. I know everyone would not be friends or stuff, but just the ability to connect to me is important for everyone to find their own peers and the thing they share together, and that will just to me help speed the process of when it comes to this race of creating a metaverse culture versus the stars and the big traditional industry.
Absolutely.
So
love the community, love the vibes.
Feel free to reach us as well if you have any question or things that you want to share or that we may answer more properly or thinking about it and stuff. And so, it's a real pleasure to do the show. I'm very excited each week, and I know you do as well, Mai. So let's set the rendezvous for next week and let that all sink in. Let's meditate on all that.
Absolutely. Well, Mighty, it was great chatting with you, as always.
Same. And wishing everyone a good night, and let's catch up later anytime. We're here. We're here for the next generations to thrive and have the best ecosystem they can. And it's not to us. It's not about us as individual at this point. It's about something I think is beyond us. We'll see on the run how we'll deal with this as individuals, and we have to take care of this, of the mental health and the well-being as much as possible, because without well-being we wouldn't be able as well to build this community, this world. So I wish everyone the best for this week, and let's catch up next week. So MightyMai episode 7, that's the clap of the end. Maybe I have a little music to close this, or I can close with Moo's Sweet Peace again. And grab your pops. Okay, there is no code for the Pope this week, so maybe we'll do one tomorrow or for next week. Two for the price of one. We will figure that out.
I'm pretty sure. I was gonna say I think Dragon A may have passed out on us.
That's okay. Next week you will have 2 for the price of 1 Pope. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll make it work. No worries.
See you guys.